Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Soaps and Sass.
Hey, y'all. Welcome.
I am Baby Sass.
I am Mama Sass, and we are excited to be back with you.
Yes, today is the...
Episode 44, week of November 18th to 21st.
Yes,
a.k.a. third week of November sweeps.
Third week of November sweeps.
Still don't have my air horn.
No, you do not. And sadly, next week will be the last week of November sweeps. And it'll be a very short week because y'all have your holiday of Thanksgiving coming up. So we're only getting 3 days.
Right,
to finish off November.
But I will say, compared to May sweeps...
Oh, yes.
GH has brought it this time.
Compared to February and May, because February was a dud.
May wasn't much better. May was not much better.
It was better than February, but not by much.
Not by much, because they only brought it out in the last week of May.
And February. But the writers have given us, they have made up for the failures of February and May sweeps, and they have given us much.
Yes.
They've been coming in with some plots, some twists, some spoofs, some ahs.
It's been a real roller coaster ride. It really has.
They've been giving us tears. They've been giving us the feels.
Yes.
So, major applause to the writers for this month of November.
Yes, even as we cursed them.
Yeah, but, you know.
But they did a good job because we were invested.
Very much.
We were invested. We felt something. So, way to go.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't I jump in with a recap?
Please do.
Okay. Monday, Britt and Emma face off in a clash that's been brewing for weeks, if not years, right? Lulu confides in Carly, torn over how to help her family. Trina wrestles with whether to come clean or not. Alexis consults Felicia about Portia's alibi. And Dante's temper gets the best of him again. Yeah. Dude. On Tuesday, Jason offers an apology that needed to be said. Dante opens up to Lulu as they navigate emotional terrain. Sidwell is left fuming. Ha ha! Britt issues a hard ultimatum, and Brennan pointedly questions Carly about their relationship. He have nerve. On Wednesday, the election results drop, y'all, shaping Port Charles's future. Alexis brings Jason up to speed on Danny's case. Vaughn summons Jocelyn, and Emma is furious. Nathan lends a supportive ear as Lulu worries about Charlotte turning herself in. On Thursday, Britt is shaken to her core. Oh boy, was she shooketh.
She was shaken.
Oh my goodness. Lucas and Marco dine with Ava, whoop-de-doo. Michael introduces Jacinda to Sonny, and Chase pushes his investigation forward. Laura makes a shocking discovery that could change everything. We called that last week. And on Friday, Chase shares important news with Alexis. Gio confides in Sonny, and Jason grills Britt, and she's forced to answer far more than she ever expected. She didn't answer everything, but she answered more than she expected.
Yep. And she also got the answer she expected.
She did. So that is it for the week. And what a week it was.
What a week it has been.
Do we want to talk about the election?
That will lead into some of our categories, so why not?
All right. Go ahead.
Oh.
Because I know you was excited about it. You were like, hey, let's go.
I was. Because, start of the election, everyone's gone to vote. Everyone's putting in their ballot for whether they want Laura to return and continue her role as mayor, or if they want Skeevy Ezra Boyle. And boy, did I can't say that fist comes to blows because they did not, but there was a showdown at the polling station between Mayor Collins and the dastardly Dalton. I know what you're trying to do.
Terrible.
I know what you're trying to do, but we will fix that. Right, because, Laura is very freaked out about what's going on with Rocco, and Nathan shows up to give her a little update that, Rocco's been settled into the juvenile detention center, and he's isolated from the rest of the population, and she's like, thank you for that reassurance. And then Dalton shows up and basically starts causing a scene, and you know how we just do when a scene is being caused, the phones come out, and people will be recording. And Laura...
because it didn't occur to anybody to try to intervene.
No. And Laura stood up for herself, her family, and Rocco. And she's like, I will not stand for this. You are harassing my grandson. Yes, my grandson broke into your office. I'm not denying that. But he did not break anything. And for you to come with this false evidence I will not stand by it. I will, while I'm still mayor, I will use whatever power I can to, prove that you are a dirty man. And
it was interesting because as she was speaking to him, she was speaking and he kept like escalating. Like he knew he was playing to the crowd.
He was.
And it's just like, oh, are you saying blah, blah, like intentionally twisting her words.
Right. And there was a point where she got up close because he said something. I don't remember what he said, but he said something. And she got up close and personal, and he turned his head to look away.
Well, I don't know that he was looking away. I think he was looking at the cameras to make sure they were filming.
It was kind of a, when...
looking for the support of the people around. You don't think so?
No, the way he turned his head, because he also kind of rolled his eyes, so it was kind of like, yeah, right, kind of turned his head.
Oh,
like,
okay.
It was kind of like,
fair.
Yeah. And as he did that, she's like, oh, no.
Look at me.
And rather than, like, be like, hey, yo, look at me, like, kind of pointing at him or using, like, because she kind of was always pointing at him, like, you will not do this. Yeah. She really took her hand, and instead of doing a nice gentle turn of your head, she's like, no, pat me. She smacked the man.
And we were all like, oh.
Like, as Josh Johnson said, the one thing he misses when he was a kid was the ooh moments. And boy, did we have that moment.
I was not prepared.
No.
I was not prepared.
You and me both.
It was great though. I loved it.
How many times do you have to back that up though?
But I did not expect that of Laura. I really didn't. I was like, come on, Jeannie Francis.
And neither was she, because she didn't realize what she did until after she's like, oh.
Well, I don't even think she knew, but the cameras were like, she was so angry.
She was so angry. She was very much in the moment. She had blinders on.
She was not aware.
She wasn't. Her focus was so on Dalton.
Yep. No spatial awareness.
And then she kind of comes out of it because Dalton says something like, oh, yeah, I bet your constituents are going to be, happy about that or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then she kind of snaps out of it, sees the camera, so she's like, oh. But that altercation actually worked in her favor.
Yes.
Because it did not take long for those video clips to go viral. Mm-hmm. And for the people to see that Laura was standing up for her family and smack Dalton.
Well, exactly. So those who had not been to the polls made sure they carried themselves quick fast. Right.
And people were in the comments were calling her a badass for standing up for her family and, standing up to a bully.
Indeed.
And that actually put her ahead of Dalton.
Ezra Boyle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fast forward to Drew all up in her office talking about...
no, but again, this man can't knock on doors. He just walked up in there again.
Oh, nobody don't seem to knock on no doors. They're going to walk in on something they don't expect. So, yeah, he's up in there talking about, I hope you prepared your concession speech.
And I'd like for you to endorse Ezra in it.
And you will this, and you will that, and you will the next. And I was like, who is you?
And there was a point where Laura was appealing to his good nature, or his former good nature. And she had said, when you first ran for congressman, I voted for you. I was so proud of you. I was looking forward to the things you could do. And he's like, thank you, Laura. Your faith means so much. And she's like, it's not faith. I am appealing to your better nature. And the look on his face was like, of course she doesn't have faith in me. It's like, what'd you expect?
Why would she?
After everything you've done to the people she cares about, why would she? You are harming your constituents by using your power to gain the things that you want. And Drew said that she was doing the same thing, and that no politician has ever, not done in some way, shape, or form, been above the law or used their power for personal gain. And I'm like, actually, so far that I've noticed since Laura's been mayor, she actually hasn't used her mayoral position for, like, I would say major personal gain compared to Drew, who's like really using his power to like, manipulate people and get people to, put restraining orders on children and try to, get people off or not off.
Right, but to some advantage.
Yes. And not, not doing his job.
Right.
Compared to Laura, who's like, yes, Laura's not, looking at the optics of her family connections the same way as people are seeing her, whatever, but she's not, just because she's, she shares a grandson with Sonny, doesn't mean that she's gonna, cut ties, because it's like, well, this is a mobster and you're gonna use your influence to keep him down and everything. Is like, no. Mm-hmm. When has she ever used her, her mayoral position to help Sonny?
Yeah.
As far as I know, she hasn't once, and she's not going to.
No, exactly. You're exactly right.
She doesn't endorse what Sonny's doing.
Exactly.
But but she's also not doing anything. I wouldn't say she's not doing anything to stop it either, but she's like, there hasn't been any proof that he's been doing what he's claiming to be done.
Yeah.
And also, a mayor's position, like a mayor's job, isn't to do what y'all think a mayor's job is to do, as I've so learned.
Well, I'm going to leave that one alone. And I'm just going to go back to, I find Laura is somebody who's very much a person of integrity, in the sense that she's true to her family, right? It's like Sonny is family and we are friends. It's not just because I become mayor that friendship stops. But she's been very clear with Sonny. It's like, listen, you break the law and, friendship don't mean nothing. Friend is friend, business is business. Let's be clear. So, from that perspective, I think that's all good. Now, within the scope of what we were just talking about, so, and for me, my comedy moment of the week was Drew's face when Jordan comes in talking about, Laura, have you seen the returns? The results are in, the election is over.
Yep.
And Drew's like, let's go. Pack up and, move out.
And Laura's face, because she's reading it, and she's like, oh my God. And he's
like, what?
Or not even that. She's like, well, it was a good run. And Jordan's like, congratulations on another 4 years, Mayor Collins. And he's like, shazbat.
His face is like, I don't understand y'all counting your chickens before they hatch.
Stop putting your cart before the horse. Seriously.
Oh my goodness.
Like, you okay. And then on top of that, we later come to find out that Measure C did not pass as well. So, everybody's not happy.
Whoops. Should have separated that. I don't understand why that waited for the election. That was so bizarre. I didn't get that.
It really was. But also, it's like, yes, Sonny's peers, not great. But, like, they've been there for years. If y'all had an issue with it, y'all would have taken it up with the last mayor and the mayor before that, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Why is it only now, because Laura's mayor, that y'all having issues?
Right.
And I get Sidwell's kind of the one who brought in the Measure C. Yep. And it all started because of the Esplanade and all that.
Yep.
But again, if y'all had an issue with that, y'all would have taken it up before Laura became mayor.
Absolutely.
So,
why don't we tie that into our other bit of comedy? So after Dalton is completely humiliated as she slaps him dead in the face, he goes to drown his sorrows at the Brown Dog, which apparently is not such a dive bar after all, because everybody seems to be hanging out there these days.
I will say, though, what I find interesting is both Dalton and Ezra, like, okay, in terms of Dalton, I don't know how long he was in the bar before, Jocelyn showed up and did what she was doing, compared to Ezra, who we saw walk in and sat down and whatever, and both of them were drunk in record time. Like, the stay in which Ezra was drunk was just like, sir, do you just not drink? Like, can you not handle your liquor? Because everybody just giving out secrets.
I'm telling you. Hey. Although, to be fair, that might be me, too. You give me a drink or two and all my secrets are coming out. But,
It does lead me to a question for later involving what Chase said, because I'm like...
Okay, well, we'll come back to Ezra. We'll focus on Dalton for the moment.
Of course.
So Dalton's in there. He's all like, I can't believe she humiliated me. I got beat up by a girl, or whatever his whole mental dialogue was. Joss comes in because, Vaughn summoned her. She sidles up to Dalton, and she's getting the goods. She is getting the goods. Wow.
Getting all the information. He talking about, like, this kid broke into my lab and almost destroyed it. And she's like, but, you're an innovator. And the testing is like, oh, I don't
She finessed him, man.
She finessed him. He's like, after what happened on my last campus, I don't keep the animals on campus. I have them at a different location. So far that if the dogs be barking, no one gonna question it. No one's around to know that the dogs be barking.
Right? And so
test.
While she's talking to him, Emma and Gio come in, and then Emma loses her complete temper.
Right, but before that even happens...
But she sends Gio over to intervene, and it's like, no, I'm good, whatever. So then Joss gets up to go speak to them. While Joss is speaking to them, Dalton comes over, starts telling them what for.
Yep, because Jocelyn had said something about, like, let's get out of here. He's like, yeah, my lab has a couch.
Oh my gosh.
Sleazy
Oh my gosh,
man.
I forgot about that.
Sleazy man. It's like, yeah, my lab has a couch. So they were going to go.
I forgot about that.
They were going to go to the lab. They were going to go to the lab. Joss was going to get the location, possibly images to prove that this man was shady. And then Emma and Gio kind of sort of ruined it. But
I think your imagination is carrying you a little far down that storyline, but in any case. So while they're talking, and Emma is telling this man tutus and what for, and how she broke into her life, she confesses.
I'm like, girl, you just letting all the secrets out. I get the man's drunk and won't remember this and also won't make it, but you just confessing the secrets.
Woo! And he's like, what?
That was you?
And it really did look like he was gonna strike her. He really did look like he was gonna strike her. Enter Vaughn, who hauls him off to wherever he hauled him off to, at least just hauled him out of the bar.
No, hauled him off to the bar to be like, you and I were gonna...
No, but ultimately, I'm just skipping forward.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was taking him to jail or whatever, and then he ends up saying, basically, show up tomorrow, and escorts him out the bar, blah, blah, blah. And then
I didn't think he escorted him. I thought he just walked out. I thought Dalton walked out and then he went to go get his coat, but... What doesn't matter. Matter.
Which led to your comedy moment.
Which was because Vaughn had shown up, grabbed Dalton, and said, "You weren't about to strike her, were you?" And flashes his WSB badge at Dalton because he's like, "I thought you were a janitor." Da 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 da. And so basically, Vaughn and Dalton leaves, and Jocelyn, Gio, and Emma all look in the direction of the door, and then Gio turns back and looks at this like, "I thought that dude was a janitor at PCU." It's like, I thought he worked at PCU. And the way Gio had said that after that tense moment was like the Pikachu meme where it's just Pikachu has like this blank stare on his face and he's just like, huh?
It was good. It was good.
It was beautiful.
People did a great job delivering their lines this week, I must say.
Yeah, but I will say another partial comedy moment was Yvonne's face. Because the camera caught that little gap of Vaughn's face when Dalton put his hand on Joss's leg,
and you kind of see Vaughn leaning out of his seat like, what the heck?
He's like, "Excuse me, get your hands off my woman."
Oh my goodness!
But Vaughn can't do anything. He's just there like, "Oh hell no!"
I thought he was gonna fall out of his chair. He was leaning so far. My goodness, that was something. Do you want to talk very quickly about the scenes between Portia and Curtis?
Sure. It's just because, again, we might go into that thing that might lead me into a rant or sidetrack.
Feel free to rant.
Oh, not rant, but sidetrack. But anyway, so Portia and Curtis basically have a moment because Curtis is letting Portia know that Stella is aware that she's pregnant and is not a total fan of them getting a divorce, especially now that she's pregnant. Which, again, Stella is so out of pocket and she has no place in telling them what to do with their marriage. But anyway, while they're having this conversation and finishing up, Portia is putting some files away and there's a picture of an ultrasound, her ultrasound, and because she hid it under her notepad rather than just like putting it in a drawer or something or whatever, and Curtis sees it and he's like, "Oh, may I, have a look at it?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And then he asks if he can keep it. And I'm just like, I don't even know how to word it. I'm just like, okay, yes, look at this, But Portia is very hesitant to say yes because she's like, this might not be his baby.
Yep.
But she says this anyway, and I'm like, Portia, I understand your reasoning for saying yes, but you should have said no. You are not obligated to say yes. You literally could have said no. Like, you could have stalled him as, like, actually, you know, wanna whatever, hold on to it for a little bit or whatever. Like, anything. You did not have to give it to him, especially knowing that this baby might not be his, because you are allowing this man to get attached to a baby that might not be his, and it's going to devastate him if that is the case. Because he's already upset that he missed out on pretty much all of Trina's life, that you lied and never told him, and now he's going to become invested in a baby that might not even be his.
You know, I think it's going to turn out that he is the father, but it's not going to come without all the scandal and drama before that's proven.
Possibly.
But I do think it is his kid.
And to be honest, I'm hoping that scandal comes out before the end of May sweeps. Or May sweeps, November sweeps. I'm hoping. I don't know if it will, but I'm hoping it does.
I don't know that we'll be so lucky. That's 3 days.
I know. But December will be interesting if it does come out around then.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas! I slept with someone and the chances of you being the father were very 50-50. That's a great present to get for Christmas.
Indeed. Okay. So that was basically your who called for that, or what did you do that for, right?
Right. I still haven't gone into my tangent, but I will also wait for my tangent later. Because, again, we said if we had time.
Alright. Make it make sense.
That was...
It was not.
It was not?
It was not. It was Carly and Jack having a conversation.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so Carly went to Jack, and they had a conversation. Being like, we haven't seen each other for a while, and about forgiveness and whatever. And then it got to the point where they were about to do the Devil's Tango. There was another.
What a characterization!
There was another way I had that, but I couldn't. You know. Anyway,
I mean, maybe in this case that's probably true,
but anyway, so they're in Jack's room. Jack has a couch in his room, so Jack is over Carly, but the look on Carly's face was a look of distress, of uncomfortability, of I don't want to have sex with this man, I'm being assaulted kind of look on her face. And I'm like, I personally was uncomfortable. I wanted to, like, scream out and be like, somebody help this woman. She's being attacked. Like, ooh. And it makes me wonder, because I'm like, did the director, the producer, whoever give her direction being like, okay, in this scene, we want you to look uncomfortable. We want you to be like, I don't really want to have sex with this man, but it's all for the game. But somehow she took that direction and her face just did not translate it correctly, because, oh, Lord, I really thought she was in a very dangerous position, even though she wasn't. And I'm just like, someone help this woman.
Yep, her distaste was, it was beyond.
It really was. And I'm wondering if anyone actually caught that while they were editing and rewatching, like. And I feel like they had to, because there was a point where her face, it was a close-up of her face in that
it was
mannerism. And it's just like...
From a viewer's perspective, at least these two viewers, because we talked about this.
We did.
It was almost as if the actress was in a scene with an actor that she cannot abide. And her contract is telling her she has to do this scene, but she don't want somebody anywhere near her.
No.
It's like, why did they cast me opposite this guy? Like, you know, And that just...
That, or she, like it was...
It was too true to life.
Yeah, and I couldn't, like, when I watch my shows and someone is in the middle of doing a scene and they're uncomfortable, I don't want them to look like they're being attacked. I don't want them to look like they're actually in an uncomfortable position. It's one thing to be like, yes, I'm uncomfortable, you know, maybe, back up a little bit, give me a second to breathe,
Mm-hmm.
But that... No.
Yeah, she could have looked bored or something, or focused elsewhere, gritting her teeth, but this was beyond.
Yeah, she could have had a look of like, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm doing it for Jocelyn. Something. that was just the wrong face.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, if I was actually like a stagehand on that set and I was just standing by watching this, I would have gotten fired. Because I would have yelled, cut, somebody please help this woman. She looks like she's in trouble. Like, she does not look okay. And I would have been like...
extra.
No, I am, but this, like, no.
Okay. I'm gonna go...
Like, I get uncomfortable already watching y'all do the dirty tango, but that...
Mm-hmm.
That took it to another level.
Indeed. I'm gonna jump to Kesekeke, or the Delulu of the week, which for me was Britt. I think Britt was a little delusional in not realizing that by demanding that Sidwell get rid of Dalton, he was gonna literally get rid of Dalton and shoot him.
Yeah.
Or have him killed. Like, she was like, I just wanted you to pay him off and send him somewhere. Do you not know Sidwell's reputation? You've been working with him for the last how many ever years that you've been at the Five Poppies. You don't know who this man is?
And honestly, for me, I'm like, yeah, you could have done what Britt did. Or, not did, but suggested. And then shoot him off somewhere else. Didn't have to, do it right there. But
yep.
for plot points and everything, it had to be done there.
And the other thing that kind of cracked me up, and we've seen this before, is Sidwell looks genuinely confused by their reactions. It's like, what do you mean? Like, what? I don't understand what else you... Like, really? Did you really not conceive that this is what I might do? Like,
and also Dalton, because, like, I think he saw the gun, but because he was so drunk, I don't think he processed what was going to happen. Because he also kind of looked a little confused, like, you brought attention to the one place they didn't want attention drawn to. What did you expect was going to happen? That you were going to make it out of this house alive? Because he walked in saying, you need to help me. The WSB wants to question me tomorrow. The man's not going to let you make it to that like, what?
I don't even understand. Which is funny. Exactly as you said. Because Dalton told him, make this go away. We do not... Sidwell was very explicit. We do not want to bring attention to the lab. But, no, you're out making scenes and public accusation. Wait, falsifying evidence? Really?
Yeah, your hubris, your ego is doing the one thing that you were told not to do. And
now I'm thinking what with Dalton having been killed, will that not bring even more attention to the lab?
Yes.
Like, was that the move, Sidwell?
Yes, it will, because they're like, okay, well, this man obviously is doing all of this. So what? So, like, obviously it's bad enough that he but it's like, if they think they framed him, what was he doing that was so bad that they had to break in and all of this and all of that? Like, that he also had to, like, delete his own evidence. Like,
I don't know, but now Britt's gonna have to go in there and do something. I don't understand. I'm not sure that this play was properly thought through. I don't know how it's gonna play out, but
but we will see.
Yes, we will see. Where else? Make It Sassy.
My Make It Sassy goes to Emma for just cussing out Dalton. I think she was a little, not out of pocket, but I think revealing everything to him.
Mm-hmm.
With it being like, I was the one who broke into your last lab. I know you were testing on animals and da. I think that was a little much.
Mm.
Again, yes, the man is drunk, but you are also admitting to a crime in a crowded bar and something you signed an NDA for.
Mm.
So,
I know.
That's smart.
My Make It Sassy was Britt when Pascal came into the room. And she was like, what the hell is he doing here? And it's like, oh, I needed some help. And she was just like, no. Oh, Pascal's gonna drive you home. And she was just like, I'm good. Already she's freaked out from Dalton having been killed. Like, I can handle it. And then when he gets to her place and she's going into the room and he's following her in.
Yeah, that I think was...
That was overmuch. And to your point, because Pascal had said, I say to your point, nobody knows what I'm talking about, but you had said to me that Pascal mentioned, we have men watching you. Well, why didn't you just have one of the men take her home? Like, why did you need to be the one?
I think it was him because he's the one who's been, basically her handler at the Five Poppies and can get the point across pretty straight in the threat compared to the men is like drop her off at home and be gone.
Because shooting somebody in front of her did not drive the point home enough.
No.
Because to me it was clear. Britt was like, I'm good.
And at this point, if the fact that you have people watching her, I would not be surprised if her room was bugged.
Yeah, seriously.
Because already someone managed to get into her room to deliver her medication.
Yep.
And the fact that her and Jason were in her room being like, if I tell you, I need to know that you're going to put me first. I need to know you're going to protect me. That was not the place to have that conversation.
It was not.
Because I'm like, someone's listening in. Someone has bugged that room. You are going to get in trouble. No.
That's another delusion.
You need to meet somewhere else. I don't know where, but somewhere where you are positive no one is going to hear you.
And no one's going to see that Jason showed up while you were there.
Right?
Or that Jason's there first and you show up second. They don't know that he was in there.
I'm like, have the conversation at the hospital. Have the conversation, because the hospital, it's a public place. You work there. Jason could walk up in the hospital because he's
Ned's
visiting
there.
Elizabeth.
Or
Ned.
Yeah.
And there's multiple reasons why this man could be at the hospital. Not just Britt. Have it at the Metro Court, but it's like, actually, yes, have it at the Metro Court, because Jason can get a room. Jason be waiting in said room, and then you go to the room later. Like you manage to get a key from wherever, and you manage to meet Jason in that room.
Yeah, but why would she be staying at the Metro Court?
No. Her mom could be there for all we know, because we don't know where her mom's staying.
True, we haven't seen her in a minute.
So there's plenty of ways that they can have a conversation, and not get caught.
Indeed. I'm going to go on a bit of a rant of my own.
Okay.
A slightly different topic. In a segment that we'll bring back every so often, we talked about this before, is character assassination.
Please go ahead, because this leads into my villain of the week.
Dante Falconeri. Can we talk about his evolution from smooth operator to short fuse father?
Yes.
Okay. So when we first met Dante back in 2009, he was flirty, he was playful, he was charming, right? He had the worst pickup lines. He was flirting with Lulu every minute, and it was just like, dude, come on, seriously? Like, could it be a little more corny and cheesy?
Okay.
But he would walk into a room, and he would just be super chill. You'd be happy to see him. He was easygoing. He was just charming without trying, right? Mm-hmm. And as a cop, he would listen first and then draw conclusions after. He didn't jump to any conclusions. He de-escalated stuff. He was super, super relaxed, with just like a smile, a shrug, whatever. He wasn't stressing. He had calm energy. He had a good heart. He was awesome. Then, I think it was in 2014, he got kidnapped. Or, the WSB took him for some special program and ended up, programming him. At least I'm pretty sure it's the WSB that programmed him. Any listeners that know that I'm off base can write in the comments or whatever. Tell me what actually happened, because I don't fully remember. And since he got rescued, Sonny had to go rescue him because the WSB had pretty much cut him loose for loss or whatever. So he comes back traumatized.
Yep.
Now, we've heard Dante say that he went to therapy. We never saw any of it. But I don't think the therapy worked. Because now he's like the TSA agent who wants to know what's in that bottle. Determine it's a bottle of water and you can't drink it there. He's going to, he hasn't decided if he's going to ruin your day. And I'll tell you what, if I got stopped by a cop like Dante today, I would be panicked. I would be panicked because Dante, to me,
has now become a hothead?
Yes, he's very much hot-headed. He's on edge. He's tense. You don't know which way the wind is going to blow with Dante.
Well, see, that to me makes sense, because as he was telling Nathan when he reinstated him as a detective, was that he's like, I had PTSD.
And he still has PTSD.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, PTSD doesn't go away just because you go to therapy. Mm-hmm. It's something that sticks with you, and different things will trigger you.
Yep. And he does not have the coping techniques down.
Or he has not kept them up.
Something.
Because I'm like, when you have, again, you got PTSD, things will trigger you. And the things that trigger you. Sometimes you think you would know every single thing that will trigger you.
Yep.
And then something will happen and that's a new thing that will trigger you, and it's just something completely random that has nothing to do with anything that will actually trigger
you.
And in this case, anything having to do with Rocco getting in trouble is a trigger for him.
Well, this is it. So now he's like, you know, before he was like a super chill person, chill dad. And, you know, it was one thing. Like, I understand, you know, like before he would lead with his heart. And now as a father, and he was a father back then too, but he is totally leading with fear. And fear completely causes all his decisions.
And I think, like, aside from the programming and whatever the WSB had him doing, like, I think, like, the fact that Lulu got into an accident, but that put her in a coma. Then
an accident, she was in an explosion.
Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, Sam going under and then not making it out. It's like,
I mean, it's understandable.
Like, things are compiling on top of things.
Yes.
And it's like, and then on top of that, finding out he got Brooklyn pregnant and had a kid that he didn't know, and then it's like things are compiling upon things, and it's just adding to it, and it's just making, and just he has not had the chance to take the time, process, and work through it, and it's just like he's like, at this point, what? I'm just going through the motions.
Exactly, and I you know, I can somewhat relate to the way they've written the character, to be like leading with that fear, because I look at myself, and this is not mental. Well, I mean, it's mental in an extent, but it's more physical, because as you know, I've fallen down the stairs a few times. Then
Don't remind me.
Sorry about that. Then I tripped at the door, gave myself the wickedest concussion. So now I'm, you know, like, I'm very careful when I walk, and I'm ridiculously careful when I walk down a flight of stairs.
Yep.
And it's kind of like, okay, I remember the days where I used to just jog down a flight of stairs. I know where the stairs. Once I understand the height of the stairs, I'm good to go.
So do I. And there have been moments where I'm like, I'm gonna fall off these stairs.
But now, like, if I'm going to catch the subway, I am looking at every single stair before I put my foot. And mentally, as I'm doing it, I'm feeling like it's worse, because if I can't see the stair, it's almost like I can't judge where it is. The height, it's a very even height. Like, if I would just look forward, I think I would do a lot better, right? So I think it's similar with Dante. It's like, okay, if you could just disengage the fear for a little bit, compartmentalize it, and look at the situation rationally, it would carry him a lot further. And here we are, back in February, you know, episode 18A of our podcast, if ever you want to go back and listen to it. But this is where Dante, this was the week of May 9th, I think it was, Dante laid into Gio for, you know, having allowed his son to go and get alcohol poisoning.
And again, this is before he even knows that Gio was his kid.
Right. He did not know Gio was his kid at the time. So, you know,
this really was like, like, without the knowledge, he's really going head first, just
for sure,
just giving opinions, not caring of the consequences. We
could give him a little bit of leeway.
Yeah,
it was over the top, but it's a father who is afraid for his son. I
thinking
get it.
That this, you know, I can't even say family friend. This family adjacent kid who, again, he watched grow up. You know,
well, yeah, everything. Call him a friend, because exactly he watched him grow up. They lived in a neighborhood together. Right. So they had a relationship.
So it's like, right. So he's like, I thought I knew your character, and apparently I don't, because. Bleh.
Right, he was just nasty. Went for the jugular, and that's really my point. I don't know where this nasty Dante came from, because he didn't used to be like that.
No.
And so now here again, here's Rocco in trouble. Again, he's a terrified father. Makes perfect sense. I'm with him on that. But now you know this is your other child.
Yeah. And so the difference between his first reaction to when Rocco got alcohol poisoning to this reaction is he was a lot calmer, and he was a little bit more careful with his words. But I say a little bit.
Yeah. Actually,
I say a little bit.
I'll agree with you.
But he was still harsh.
He was. And you're right. He was more careful with his words, but for me, he was more careful like a surgeon is careful. He went for the most damage knowing exactly what he was doing, as opposed to back in the day where he was just flinging words carelessly. Yeah.
And also, it didn't help because he's like, because the second Emma shows up and says, no, this is my doing, like, this is my fault, he then's like, oh, so not only did you, like, put your brother in danger, if
But
you were doing it to impress a girl.
Okay, great.
And it's like, Lola, where did that even come from?
Right? And now you're talking about get out of my face. No, you turn and walk away, Dante. How about that?
Because the thing is, too, for me, is in this, because it's the same thing as what happened back when he ripped into Gio the first time, is Dante was not listening to hear, he was listening to respond.
Yep.
Because if Dante was listening to hear, he would say, or he would have heard that Gio said, I joined this club on campus that Emma has started for the animals and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you would clearly know that this started when Gio was in school, because we all know Gio's not in school, so this has been going on for months. It's not something new to impress a girl. This has been going on from time. So it's like, I joined this club. It's, animals against animal cruelty, students against animal cruelty, and Emma believed that Professor Dalton had been testing on animals, so we had come up with this plan to do ABCXYZ.
Yep.
And we asked Danny, Rocco, and Charlotte to. I will explain that later, because I can see what you're confused about. I will explain it later. But anyway, yeah. So it's like we recruited them to only get the key fob. They weren't supposed to do anything else.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
But he got mad because he's like, "Well, you recorded them anyway. They're children. What's wrong with you?" Like.
Yep. And Gio had said, like, that was a mistake. In hindsight, that was a mistake, and it absolutely was.
It was.
Absolutely was. But I'm just going back to Dante. Like, I cannot imagine an instance, and maybe it's the choice of words, but I cannot imagine an instance where I am livid with you or
my sister.
Right. And then when I'm finished saying whatever I have to say, I would tell you, get out of my face. I don't know that I ever have.
No,
I would more say, go to your room.
I feel like
which might have the same meaning, but it's different. But yeah, exactly. Like I cannot see, and I cannot see a parent saying that to their child like that. But because that's not who I am. It's not to say that parents don't say it. I'm sure they do. But that's not who I am. So I can't do it. Mm. So anyway, so for me, on that basis,
yeah, Dante's the villain of the week.
Dante is my villain of the week. Absolutely one of. I know we said we're only having one villain of the week, but yeah. So that's where I'm at. Okay. That he's your villain of the week, I believe, is what you said, right? So if he's your villain of the week, then I'm gonna go with my other choice, which was Sidwell. And I was not amused with Sidwell. This is the second time he's done this now, where he looks at Britt in this case. Last time it was Marco. But he looks Britt in her face and he's like, well, you had to know you sealed his fate when you asked me to ABC. Blah, blah, blah. Which was the same he said to Marco. So it's like, so to me, in Sidwell's mind, he's doing all these things, but he's not at all responsible for it because somebody else asked him to deal with it.
Exactly. He's like...
So, your like, hands are dirty, mine are fine.
Exactly. It's like, if you had not come to me, this would not have all played out.
Exactly. I would have left it alone. I was minding my business. And so, I think that's very villainous. I don't care for that. Mm. Okay. So, what we have left is another What Had Me Hot.
Okay.
Which is yours, because I covered mine. Mine was really Dante.
Mm-hmm.
And we have...
Hero. Heartstrings.
And Heartstrings.
Alright. So, what had me hot is Laura, because Laura done finds Dalton's dead body in her trunk.
It's been a murder.
And I will say this, because I said this the second Dalton got shot.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has an alibi. Thankfully, everybody has an alibi because the main suspect who would be looked at for Dalton's shooting, which would be Sunny, was at the PCPD with Rick and Alexis and Lulu and Nathan. They can all confirm that.
Yep.
Laura was at her office with Jordan and Drew and Lulu and Boyle
What can be with Lulu? Because you just said Lulu was with Alexis.
She came back later. But my point is like people saw her. They knew where she was.
Yep.
They like, and again with Laura being like both police station and I would assume City Hall, they would have cameras.
Yep.
So, like, they have alibis. Like, who had time to shoot this? Like, and
absolutely.
And also Dalton's whereabouts. The man, yes, he got shot, but the man was at the bar. He was drunk. People like Jocelyn, Emma, Gio, Vaughn can all attest to that he was drunk. Mm-hmm. So there's that on top of that. Because if they find the body and they do the autopsies, like he had heavy alcohol in the system. So there's that. Mm-hmm. So they all have alibis. They have people who can say this is what went on in the case.
I'm just gonna put one real quick caveat in there. I don't think Drew would alibi Laura.
I don't think think he would either. But with although the fact that again Jordan there's cameras, was there and Jordan exactly. Was there. So yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the thing that had me hot with Laura is the fact that she was freaked out, and I understand that, and she even said I was freaked out and I knew I should have called the police, but she didn't, and that's what has me hot is she did not call the police. Nathan later showed up and found her on the side of the road, clearly in distress. Mm-hmm. She had
the police showed up. She didn't even have to call them. They showed up.
She had ample opportunities to say, "Hey, this is the situation. I was just at the office. I don't know how this happened." I'm clearly being framed. I know this looks bad, especially with what's going on, but she should have done it. She should have been honest, and she did not do it. It does not help that she called Sonny, and Sonny showed up when she was with Nathan. Nope, because that now looks sus. Like,
yeah, that Nathan the whole time was like
he was off to the side. Laura constantly looking over at Nathan, being careful of her words. It's like, no, I do not like this. It makes me mad. I'm like, Laura, you are an upstanding citizen, and now you are actively eliciting Sonny in criminal behavior, and it's just...
Yep.
So, yeah.
To Drew's point about using your power, whatever.
Yeah.
Although that might be a family connection more than power.
Either way, this...
Yeah, I'm not caring for that. The other part that I don't understand is if she's the mayor, one would like to believe that where her car was parked at the mayor's office or at City Hall is under some kind of surveillance. So I'm not really sure how they got the body in the car. And this is not going to be captured on camera. So writers, y'all going to make this make sense going forward. I had another thought, but the train left the station without me. So
it's okay.
You know, but there's mainly that. Like, I don't get it.
I don't either. And it just has me hot. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yep. But again, I like that the writers are giving the characters a little additional dimension, that they're not behaving in ways that I expect them to or I'm accustomed to them behaving, which is really interesting because I often have debates with Uncle Sass, and it's like, no, or at least I used to. I haven't lately, but it used to be like, no, Carly would never do that. That's not who Carly is, and she knows she could depend on Jason or whatever. Now,
she can't depend on nobody.
I can't call that for any character on the canvas and say that is not how they would behave, because the writers have them doing all kind of random stuff.
I will say this, though, because I also did find this funny. I like how her first instinct after finding the body is obviously to call someone, even though it should have been 911. But she goes to her phone, and the first person she wants to call is Kevin. I'm like, you were just leaving Kevin a voicemail. The man is in Dublin.
No,
what is he going to do?
He's not going to do anything. But that one, I actually really like that choice.
It's more in the joke that it's like you're calling your husband. He can't help you because he's across the seas.
Agreed.
That's more what that was, more than, you just need to talk to someone, and the first person is Kevin, who's your husband.
Yes, but I liked it for two reasons. A, because, when you're in trouble, the first person you're going to call is your person.
Yes. And Kevin is her
question,
person.
Right? So that part I liked. I also liked, finally, because, it didn't bother me all that much because Kevin was not like a main character. But again, the throwaway lines. Where is this person? Where has he been? Now, I know he's often on Beyond the Gates. That's where the actor is. And, almost like a leading character. He's been busy over there. And very deliciously so. But again, thank you for letting us know where he's been, what he's been up to.
Yeah.
But you're right. That don't make no sense. He can't do nothing. But it made sense.
I do like how the second person she called was Alexis, because it's like, lawyer.
Yep.
And then I'm surprised she didn't call Martin after that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, you couldn't reach your sister, but you couldn't reach Alexis, but I'm sure your brother's going to pick up and he can help you,
What with having Cyrus in the family.
Right, exactly. But, she didn't do that either. So overall, I don't like that she called Sunny.
You know,
I wish she would have called 911, but it's for plot point.
But that's it. You know, if you're gonna call Laura, so you didn't get Alexis. I guess you don't have a relationship with Diane because we never seen them interact. I don't think.
No, you don't have Rick's number. Because I don't see why she would.
Fair enough. I don't see why she would, but exactly.
And Scotty's not here, so you can't call Scotty.
Right? But that could have been an interesting conversation that she calls Scotty. Like, I know you're out of town, but dude.
Right.
You gotta help me.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's that.
Though I do also like how they quickly come to the realization that it was Sidwell who did it.
Well, listen, I'm telling you what, they got the wrong people on the police force.
Because they're like, who would have benefit from this? Mm-hmm. Well, there's Drew. There's Dalton. There's Boyle. Mm-hmm. Lastly, they're all endorsed by Sidwell.
Yep.
So Sidwell did it.
Absolutely.
So I like how they came to that conclusion very quickly. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, and she's like, "Your car's gonna be back at your place tomorrow, whatever."
I
don't know why they went back to her office though. Like, why would he go back to her office instead of taking her home? Number one,
because that also gives you another alibi. Because it doesn't make sense you go back to your office, you go home, you can freshen up, get your bearings together before going to meet your team. Because you can't. To say that you can't do that at your office, but it would make more sense that your car's broken down, and then because there's no cameras on Mile 8, so it make more sense that your car's broken down. You know, maybe in the end, you know, Sonny did have to call a tow truck or something. But so he's like, you know what, we'll call the tow truck and then I'll just take you home. It makes more sense for him to do that than to go back to the office.
Yes, and that was the other thing that bothered me. Although, given that Laura got blood on her arm, kind of makes sense. Although, really, I don't know why it would end up being exposed. But I genuinely thought she should have gone with Nathan and had Nathan take her to the campaign headquarters. Like, play it off with the stress over her grandson being arrested, the shock of winning the election. She just needed a moment to release all that tension, and that's what was going on. Like, I think Nathan would have bought that. Because, you know, we can sell our tears to men. They don't tend to question. They just want you to stop crying. But,
anyway.
You know, so, yeah. All right. Let's talk about heartstrings, and then I think we're just about bring this to a close, right?
Yeah. So, my hero of the week is Michael. Because Michael ran to Brooklyn and they sat down and had a conversation. Mm-hmm. And Brooklyn basically like, this is the situation going on with Gio, and I want to be there and help and you know, help him figure this out, because Dante was harsh. Woo! But I don't want to overstep and I don't know how to do that. And Michael gave her some really good advice. Mm-hmm. And he's like, when my dad and I butt heads and have whatever, it's like, I know I can always count on my mom, and my mom's always there for me. And she's like, right, but I don't know how to do that with Gio. Because, like, yes, I'm his mom, but I'm not his mom. Yeah. So she really didn't know how to go about it. She didn't want to push. She didn't want to make it worse.
Yeah.
And Michael, being the sly guy he is, shoots Gio a text, and Gio's like, yeah, I was looking for Michael because he texted me and everything. She's like, I think he said, he's like, oh, he needed to talk to her. He's like, yeah, it was me. He texted you because of me. So they sit down and have a lovely conversation, and she's like, you know, what you did, yeah, not great. But Dante was so wrong, and I'll say that time and time again. And the conversation really, helped Gio, because she understands, like, yeah, people do the right things, but they don't know how the right thing will turn out. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, like how you were trying to do the right thing by giving me up, but you didn't know that your mom and your grandma were going to do what they did. And she's like, yeah, no, I didn't. But aside from that, it's like, whatever. And in the end, he said, thanks, Mom. And yo,
that was almost, if not more, shocking than when Laura slapped Dalton. I was not prepared.
I think that was more shocking because and the reason I say that is because it really, with Laura and her interaction with Dalton, it was leading to that there was going to be some physical contact.
You thought so?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, it was ramping up to that. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Gio and Brooklyn, it was a really sweet moment, and as far as it went, the most I was expecting was a thanks, Brooklyn, and a hug. I wasn't expecting him to break out the mom.
Yeah.
Especially with the fact that he's already had a conversation with Lois, and Lois said, your mother, referring to Brooklyn, and he's like, Camilla's my mom. Like, please, like, I can't put Brooklyn into that box. I would appreciate if you don't put her in that box, even though, you know, she is my birth mom. Like, And Lois respected that. So, like, for him to come out with that after that conversation really just threw me. Even though, like, deep down I was like, it would be so nice if he's, like, in this moment said, thanks, Mom. And it was really just kind of, like, not really a slip of the tongue, but it was just, like, it was
natural.
It was just a natural thing.
It rolled off the tongue.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to cry again because it was just like, oh my gosh.
Like, so basically that's what I was hoping for. But I'm like, you know, as much as I would like this, it's not realistic enough, especially where Gio's at in his healing process and understanding. So at most, you know, again, a thanks Brooklyn and a hug would be great. And they're having this moment too, like back when, you know, they're sitting out at the crypt and reminiscing, and you know, Gio had said, like, you know, you're reminding me of my mom and all this and all that. And it's like, also, I think Gio was also remembering that it's like, even before Brooklyn knew that she was my mom, it's like, she always treated me the same way. She never looked at me any differently. She always gave me great advice. She was always looking out for me and all this stuff. She cared about me regardless of my situation. And I think that played into it. So when he really did come out with thanks, Mom, I was just about ready to just lose it. Oh my goodness.
You did lose it. Don't even try.
The floodgates open. We had to back that scene up so many times.
I know. I lost it. As a mother, and this really hit me in the gut as a mother, when you have a rift with your child, it is... I was gonna say devastating. I think that's maybe overstating. But it's incredibly painful when you have a rift with your child and you don't know how to
fix it.
Yeah,
mend it.
Exactly. So to just be constant, and then the child recognize that and reach over and extend that hand of grace and peace. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I really like that. Like Brooklyn, like she was really taken aback. She's like you could see in her eyes. She's like, what did you do? And then in that moment of like her processing what he just said, he's the one who initiated the hug, not her. Yeah. Which really is like, I think Gio has reached that point of forgiveness.
And he was wanting to. He also didn't know how to either. He hadn't been given the opportunity.
So I really think everything that's like Ronnie's advice, Lois giving his talk before she left, Tracy, you know, Ned having his heart attack, and now this. Yeah. I really think all of that culminated to just really, like, putting himself in a position to be like, I can forgive Brooklyn. She really didn't mean to, like, hurt me in any way, shape, or form. She really was just trying to do what was best for me. Yeah. And I see that, and I can move forward and have a better relationship with her. Yep. Not gonna happen with Dante, though. No. And it's also funny. That's gonna be rocky. It is funny because they were her and Brooklyn were or not her. Dante and Brooklyn were talking about how, like, Dante and Gio had kind of been mending fences a bit, and so it was going to be the one to kind of, like, step back, put herself on the outs, and let them develop that relationship. Yep. But those roles reversed. That situation flipped. But that's on Dante. That is on Dante. Dante made those choices, right? Natural consequences. Right. So. And I like how Michael then later came back and saw them hugging. Yes, and he was like... Right, I personally would have liked it if Brooklyn's head was on the other side of Gio, so she could have like caught movement and seen him, and then again thank you. Yeah, but I'm okay with. I think that'll come. Yeah, I'm okay with how it played out. I would love to see more Brooklyn and Gio, especially like right after that scene. So it's like it's a continuation of that scene. I'd really like to see that. Yeah, but I don't think we'll see that this week. I think we'll see more. In December. Yeah. But it won't be at the hospital, be like in different locations. But either way, that scene I think is in my top 3 scenes for 2025. Yep. I need to find that clip so I can just take that and keep that. Cuz this episode's going to get deleted off the PVR at some point, and I just need that. No problem. When I need it. When the world is bad on GH for Gio, I just need or Brooklyn. I just need that little happiness. I need that little bubble. Yes. So that basically wraps it up. I know I had one more, but I think that's a really good note to end on. Yeah, I did have my rant, but I'll save that for next week because it's not all that hugely important. All right, that sounds good. So y'all, thanks for hanging with us today. Yes. Come back next week where we got a little more soap and hopefully a great end. Sure. But we're going to make it sassy. Yeah, we will. All right. Bye everybody. And happy Thanksgiving.